Hey, what's up, Premier Guitar viewers? This is Jordan Wagner here at PremierGuitar.com, here to tell you about the Matamp MiniMat 2. The Matamp MiniMat 2 is a 4-watt all-tube guitar head. It packs a pretty good punch. There's one 6v6 GT power tube and two ECC 83 preamp tubes. This particular updated the MiniMat 2 from the original MiniMat employs a foot switchable variable boost control, which mostly boosts the gain, also boosts the volume as well, but you get much more of a gain boost than anything else. Now the MiniMat 2 itself consists of a brushed chrome chassis. It looks beautiful on the inside and the out, of course. Very well built. The rear view of it right here shows a RCA out record for direct out, the foot switch jack, two speaker jacks, one for 16 ohms and one for an 8 ohm load, the power switch and the jack for that and the fuse. The most interesting part about feature-wise of the amp for me was this attenuator. And it's actually a very high quality attenuator. There's no noise when adjusting it. It goes all the way, of course, from the full 4 watts when it's completely clockwise to hardly anything at all when it's completely counterclockwise. Now, playing the MiniMat 2 and using the attenuator on it, it was kind of puzzling because, let's be honest, 4 watts isn't very loud. So there really isn't much of an issue with distorting your mic pre if you have careful adjustment of the levels. You can use the attenuator if you like, but I really didn't have much use for it. I just basically left it on full bore because any of the lower settings, even on the high gain settings, were just, I guess for bedroom playing in an apartment it might be beneficial, but even then I think you might be better off with some sort of maybe a headphone amp at that point if you have that much attention paid to how much volume you have going on in your apartment while you're playing. Now I'm going to play through the MiniMat 2 here real quick with a Bell SSH Custom Explorer. It's partly acrylic and mahogany construction. It's a great sounding guitar, plays excellent. The MiniMat 2 right here is set up for every control at 10 right now, and the volume knob is down on my guitar right now on the bridge pickup, and you can tell that there's really no noise. Even full bore right now, you can't really hear any sort of background hum or any sort of hiss or whatnot. There's a slight hiss, but not very present. And this is about as much gain as the Matamp MiniMat 2 with the boosting gauge is capable of. Now the tone of this amp reminds me an awful lot of a mid or early 70s orange Matamp. It's very bouncy on the low end, very, very soft. There is definitely a low end there, but there's more of a bite on the upper end. Not as solid and crisp as, say, the low end of a Marshall Plexi. It has its own flavor, has its own style. So it's kind of like the sound of those old amp heads from the early 70s from Orange that were manufactured by Matamp, late 60s as well, that had that tonality just at 4 watts. And it's pretty incredible, and you really, really hear it when you play single notes. The MiniMat 2 has an awful lot in common with older amplifiers from the 60s, smaller wattage practice amplifiers such as ones made by Supro. And a lot of those amps, single channel amps from that era, in order to get a clean tone out of it, you really had to back your volume off. What's great about the MiniMat 2 is it does that very, very well, but it's not sparkly. You don't really get that crisp, clean Fender clean with it at all. It's slightly dirty. There's still a lot of mid-range to it. It's not scooped at all. You can dial it in just a little bit. Now compare that with the volume knob at full on the guitar, and you'll notice a major volume difference between the two. So you can kind of tell from that comparison that the clean tone is usable, but there's a major volume drop when you drop the guitar's volume, and that's pretty much the only way you're going to get a clean tone out of the amp. You can back off the gain, of course, if you want to, and back off the boost, but the volume is so minuscule that it's not really useful in very many environments. Recording definitely would be a good one that you could use it in, but you really would have to jack up the mic pre level if you want to be able to use it. Really the strongest points about the MiniMat 2 are its gain. You know, it has a very, very unique gain. It's not very versatile. There isn't a whole lot you can do with it to make it go into other tonal areas. But what it does very, very well, and not many other amplifiers sound quite like it. So it's kind of a unique beast. If you're after that tone, that's definitely the amp that you want to get. So there you have it. That's the Matamp MiniMat 2 head. You can read my full review online at premierguitar.com or in our new issue for October of 2010. This is Jordan Wagner, and you're watching premierguitar.com.